Hey guys, what's up? My name is just Chag. If you don't know already, I full-time stream on Twitch nowadays, but I used to work on board one of these blurry ships that you can see behind me. I think this should be Norwegian. So I've worked on board cruise ships for about 10 years. Started when I was about 21, I think, and I was 30-ish, something like that. Yeah, I worked as a photographer, then later on photo gallery manager, then later on in the theater, and I love it. I actually am sad that I'm not working on board anymore. You never know, I might try again. But yeah, I've decided to do. We have a lot of conversations about cruise ships and ships in general on my channel because I love ships. One thing before we start is I am from Serbia. I'm not native in English, so I'm sorry if you can't understand something. And I've decided to do some of these reaction videos to cruise ships because that's something I know a lot about. So yeah, I took this one. It's relatively short. It's 3 secrets cruise ship employees don't want you to know. And this is done by an ex-employee of cruise ship company. I'm fairly sure he is an entertainer. I'm not like 100% sure, but I think so. Seeing some other videos from him, and I haven't watched this one. This will be the first time, as reaction videos should be. If you like this, I'm not gonna ask you for likes, subscribes, and all that. I'm going to ask you to throw some other cruise ship video. Please make it so that it's like up to 10 minutes because the reaction one will take a little bit longer. I don't want you guys to stay there for like an hour or so. And yeah, if you like my reaction and how I approach this, I'd be more than happy to watch some more cruise ship videos and you know, react to it. So yeah, let's go in.
If you've been on a cruise before, then you know it's a strange and taboo world unlike any other. You're stuck on a giant piece of metal traveling to some of the most beautiful places in existence. The employees are unnaturally kind, and it's as if they never sleep, creating the illusion that the world you're living in for a week or two is perfect. But the truth is, there's a lot more than meets the eye. While you're there for a short time, the crew are there for a long time, 6 to 9 months to be exact, sometimes even longer. And when your vacation is over and you go home, the ship picks up a brand new batch of passengers and the process starts all over again. But at times, the passengers tend to forget that the crew are people too, and just like normal people, they do things. Secret things. That's why in today's video, I'm going to tell you 3 things that cruise ship employees do that they don't want you to know. A little disclaimer, by the way, this is coming from a general perspective. Everything that I'm going to say in today's video does not apply to every single crew member. Say right into it.
Okay, so first things first, is true. Like, this is kind of a soft reset every time you have the embarkation day is called. So some people might not know, like, crew members also get on board during the embarkation days. We just enter a little secret door somewhere on the ship, or main door. I'm kidding. And you start your 6 to 9 months contract, throughout which you, depending on the cruise, you can have like 3 to, God knows, I had like 31-day cruise around Australia and whatnot, right? So crossings are long as well. To do your fair share of cruises, and this is where you meet guests, especially if you're like me and you work in the areas that are very exposed to guests, which I really like because I like the interaction. Yeah, all these people come and go. You remember some of them, obviously, and you meet them on some other cruises and whatnot if you stay for long enough. Like in that whole world. But that's something I don't think many people do take in mind when cruising. The crew is there, it's their home, so basically you are in their home. If there's a special connection that you make with the ship as you live on her, and it's like she provides everything that you need basically, and new batch of guests comes in and out. Yeah, you're not going anywhere. And you might even come back for another contract or whatnot. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's go.
The first secret is that the crew talk about you. We see you on your cruise with your husband or wife to only see you later sneaking around to another person's cabin on the side that you met on embarkation day. We call that a ship bay. We also see you waterfall in the ice cream machine. This was of course pre-COVID, and yes, we see you.
Wait, what? Okay. The first thing he says where people like, what? Okay, I don't know. Maybe he worked on a really small cruise ship. So the ships that I work on are like at least 3,000+ people, crew and guests, going up to about 6,000 guests and about 2,000+ crew. I definitely, even though I'm a front line kind of, I don't really, well, to be honest, I don't even care. It's your thing if you're going to, be around other people or whatnot. But like, that's not, I've never heard this before. Maybe this happens in like Power. I don't know, man. Like, that's very specific about the people drinking from the, eating and drinking the way they're not supposed to. I haven't seen that very often. Then maybe because I worked on Royal and especially Celebrity Cruises, you will never see something like that on Celebrity. I can tell you that much. That's not a thing there in general. So, but yeah, let's see.
You complain to the manager. As a crew member, what is without a doubt one of the greatest pastimes while working on board cruise ships is people watching the guests, because you give us so much entertainment. One time when I was working for NCL, there was a man at the Starbucks on board, located at the atrium, deck 6 by the way. He was pretty angry because I guess they messed up his caramel macchiato. So angry in fact that he started yelling at everybody and throwing things. He even took it a step further by grabbing the mic at the karaoke stand and started telling everybody how horrible Starbucks is both on land and at sea. You cannot make this stuff up. For both good and bad reasons, the past
Okay, that's true. This is very true. I mean, people lose their shit and they will go around and say things. It happens. The problem is sometimes, like, okay, now, from a side, it's kind of funny, but the problem is that that person is, they're not in a good spot at the moment and they are paying to have a good time. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of us crew members will try and help out that person in a way, although if they even want to be helped, that's not an issue at the moment. Like, maybe they just want to, rage and, get it out of them. You don't have to drink in Starbucks, so there's many more options on the ship. Anyways, yeah, I've had similar situations where someone would come from Ben & Jerry's or Starbucks to photo gallery to explain to me how really bad some ice cream is, and I'm like, that's very hard to talk about, because especially if they are talking about, for example, mint chocolate that I really like, and I'm like, I don't know, I eat it every day and it's really good. That would piss you even more. You gotta come up with something to just, like, make it a little bit easier for that person. You have to understand that, you are there to have fun. You're not there to be pissed off on repeat. It's very unfortunate when people end up in that situation over cruise ship. Probably something else happened, and then, there was just a tipping point, which I understand. Yeah, definitely happens. It definitely happens.
Passengers can be the talk of the town, especially off the clock in places like the crew bar. For example, one time there was a man that apparently was on a 2-week cruise and was giving out $100 tips to the crew members. Now, as soon as this rumor leaked out, you had everybody on the hunt for this man. For the crew members that had been in contact with him and did receive the tips, they did tell everybody where the man was staying at as far as his cabin and even what he looked like. So of course the search was on because everybody wanted to cash in. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I even looked for him in my downtime and I was able to find him, hoping to maybe get a tip for my breakdancing skills in the show that I was doing. And I did find him, but unfortunately he didn't like the show at all, and yeah, I got nothing.
There we go. So he is, whoops. He is an entertainer. I was right. Okay. I don't know, man. So I worked as a photographer and photo gallery manager. We don't really get tips. I did get tipped like 3-4 times throughout my whole career, and later on I worked in the theater as a stage staff, so that's not something where you can get a tip. However, the payment there was more than good enough for me, unlike the photo department. But the hunt, I don't know, I kind of feel like this is more of yeah, like casino can get tips, bars, stuff like that. Would they really hunt a person down? Would they share? I mean, some people would. Some people are crazy. Yeah, I guess. Oh my god, I think we're so busy in the photo department. You don't have time for this. All right, this looks to be juicy though.
The secret is that the crew hook up with the guest. Now, this is without a doubt the biggest and most forbidden rule within the cruise industry.
No,
if the crew get caught breaking this rule, you will be terminated, no questions asked, and sent home. Working as crew, you're allowed.
Okay, you'll be terminated and sent home if you're lucky. So the biggest no, the big like this is there's two things that you are constantly reminded of as a crew member, and it's kind of funny because when I joined the cruise industry, this came to be a thing. Before, like few years before that, it wasn't. You were allowed to mingle with guests and engage into sexual intercourse or whatever. And the older crew members, when I joined long ago, were joking about like how the only rule was you have to satisfy the needs of the other person so that they don't complain, which is, think about it now, is unimaginable, right? Anyhow, right now when you start working over cruise ships, there's two things. Like there's a lot of rules, don't get me wrong, but two things are the most important. One, environment. Two, no guests, unless if it's part of your job, right? Especially not like, and here's the problem. Like if you get sent home, that's fine. I've seen that a lot. I've seen that in between crew as well. I always say there was a really good saxophone player in the theater that I that I really like, and he was new to the whole thing. We as stage staff, we help the whole dancer singer group of people to do the fast dress ups and whatnot, changes. And yeah, depending on the type of a Broadway show that they're playing or whatnot, sometimes I mean you'll see naked bodies, and that's just part of your job, and it's on you to make sure that control your emotions. You're just working together so that these girls or boys have confidence that you're not looking at them as a sex object or whatever. Like you are there to help them perform better. The moment they get that confidence in you, the show gets better because everything's right on rails. Now the problem is, except for stage stuff and and the performers themselves, this area should not be shared by anyone else. So this is their private place where we are just the shadows helping them out. However, on smaller ships, sometimes to make things faster, the musicians go through the theater to get to their positions, which should not be done, but sometimes the whole theater crew is like, that's fine, and everyone agrees. And then you get that new person in the band, and they see boobs or something, they're like, ooh, nice pair, and that's a ticket home. Don't be stupid. They work. It's their job. Yes, these are usually amazingly, fit people looking great, but it's their job. And commenting on this, you are actually invading their. Not only that you're invading their like personal life, but also you are making their workspace more uncomfortable. And like, think about it yourself. Imagine if you had to do a complete changes, dressing, whatever, in front of other people, how stressful it is already, getting used to your team and all that. Yeah, why do you think someone wants a comment there? So that's within the crew, the things that happen. Now when it comes to like crew and guests, we had a lot of that. I personally never did it. There's so many crew members that you can mingle with, up to 3,500 crew members on board, and it's just, why would you go that way? But I know people who do, and it's their fetish and whatnot. The problem is you can get sent home, that's fine, but if a guest reports you and they say that they were under the influence of alcohol and you ended up in their room, there's no rooms in their cameras, right? So if they report you for something serious, it's your word against theirs, and the company will favor the guest for a good reason, because you were warned so many times not to do it, to a point where we know that there are people who get enough money to get on board expensive cruise ship to get the crew member in their room so that they can claim something, and then the company pays for it, but your life is kind of screwed after that. So I've seen that, unfortunately. 10 years is a long period of time on board cruise ships. You see these things. I mean, it happens. The worst part is if you get sent home, that's fine, but you can end up in the prison in whichever waters you are. So you don't want to get in prison in places maybe like, I don't know, some Caribbean islands, or yeah, I don't know. I mean, not to downgrade anything, but I'm sure that you'd be better off home than in a prison, you know, somewhere around the world, on some island. So yeah, that's a serious thing that they keep explaining to the crew. So if you do this mishap, like, it's on you.
To have relationships and even hook up with your coworkers. Why? Because unlike most jobs, you are actually living where you're working. So for some people, at some point, it's probably going to happen eventually. Now, technically, there is typically a lot of candy to choose from. However, oftentimes, people only want a few pieces of candy, and it never really works out. This is like one Snickers bar piled up with a bunch of Tootsie Rolls. You get the idea. People end up trying to share, and anyway, because of this reason, there are some people, some crew on board the ship that only want the guests. They want to break the rules because they believe it's meant to be broken, and they want to try the forbidden fruit. There was a coworker of mine once that I told a story about on this channel a while back. He was a personal trainer, and he would only hook up with the guests, and he was good at it too, at least until he got caught. Essentially, on the cruise ship, you can't do anything with the guests whatsoever without proper documentation, or unless you're cleared to do so. For example, if you are to walk into any of the guest room without the proper documentation, you are fired. They don't care if you're hooking up or anything like that. You can't even go into their room, and this is for legal purposes. Things were different, let's say 20 or 30 years ago, because now everybody wants to sue for whatever little thing happens, which is, I guess, you know, understandable. If something does happen, you should be, you know, compensated for it. But either way, for this reason, the cruise lines want to avoid this altogether, and this is why the rule is what it is.
And that's smart.
Now, you're probably wondering, how is this man getting away with this stuff? Well, there are two options to do it. Typically, if a crew member wanted to hook up with one of the guests, they would wait until we go to one of the islands and ports of call. Let's say, for example, if we're in Bermuda, you would meet that person, that guest, as crew on Horseshoe Beach, away from the ship, and you wouldn't have any problems. Also,
this happens, but it's not true. Most of us work from countries where we are not really, like, let's say you go to Bermuda. Bermuda is, you need visa to go to Bermuda. I'm from Serbia, for example, and I'm not allowed to walk around Bermuda freely. The only reason I can is because my company guarantees for me with the pass. It's called I-95, which is like a piece of documentation that we have with us. So when I'm caught outside doing anything, let's say just a routine control by police, let's say in New York, I don't have my passport with me. I have ship documentation. So if I give that to an officer and they check it, I'm all good unless I'm in trouble. If I'm in trouble, it's not me that is responsible for the mishap. It's me and the cruise company that is responsible for me. So this way, if something happens on the Horseshoe Beach in Bermuda and someone says it happened and it shouldn't have happened, meaning a guest, you are still in trouble. I don't know if he's gonna cover that, but it's very true.
if you had a little bit of rank or pull or some connections on board the ship, if you knew somebody in surveillance or in security, you could have them just kind of, you know, turn a blind eye to everything that's going on. That way you can walk into one of the rooms. Unfortunately,
again, you want someone to turn a blind eye in security. As a photographer, we used very close to security. I know a lot of security officers because we start every day together. For whenever people are getting off the ship, we take pictures. We are first ones there. Security secures it. We set up our stands. We help each other. Yeah, you cannot just ask because they're risking their job. There's a log of everything. You can't just, yeah, that's, I mean, these things happen as well. Especially if security is involved in the, you know, the thing.
For my friend, he ended up walking into one of the rooms and there was a wrong guard on duty and he got caught up and got fired. Another way that the guest and crew hook up is, of course, through the spa. Now, I've talked about this plenty of times on my channel before. You guys can just look through the videos if you want to see it. But yes, this does actually happen. The whole idea and cliche idea of happy endings is a very, very real thing, and it does happen on board cruise ships for those spa members that are actually down for it. Now, I'm not saying this happens at every single spa on board every single cruise ship, but it does happen. And for those of you that are going to disagree, just really sit down and think about it. We know that this stuff happens on land, yes? What do you think is happening in the middle of the ocean with less laws and a bunch of people from...
I will strongly disagree with this. Maybe in some cruise companies it does. And then he's using Disney cruise ship as an example. I'm really sorry, but do you really think something like that happens on a Disney cruise ship? No fucking way. And Spa, if I'm not wrong, they have cameras there as well. So you're not really supposed to be overly exposed. Like, think of a spa as, you know, it's not like all-inclusive massage or anything like that. That's the place where you do your hairstyle and whatnot. There is massage, of course, and whatnot, but it's not... I mean, if you guys have experience like this on Royal Caribbean or Celebrity Cruise Lines, I'd like to hear that, or read rather, but I know quite a lot of... I have a lot of friends who worked in spa, or still do. Obviously, after work, we talk about stuff that happened to our jobs, especially crew members that are, under quotation, exposed to the guests, which I always was. And I've never heard about something like that. Now, mind you, they probably wouldn't say it, because if I report it, they can lose their job, right? Everyone will be... I mean, I don't know if it happens, but it definitely is not supposed to happen. If I'm not wrong, though, spas have cameras around as well. The only place where you don't have a camera, or at least you use not to have camera, is guest room, which you will not get the massage in the guest room because spa employee cannot go into your room. No one can. It's not allowed. It's against the rules or whatever. I mean, they can physically. And the elevators, I think elevators still don't have cameras, which is why we are, as crew members, we are not allowed to actually use elevators. We need to use stairs all the time.
From developing countries that want to make as much money as they can on their contract. Case closed. The third secret is that the crew party a lot harder than you think. Okay, so to be fair, this one's almost a given. You're talking about a college type environment, a bunch of foreigners all over the place, and of course the motion of the ocean. We get the idea, but I'm telling you, things can get a little wild sometimes. While there are rules and restrictions on board, like the maximum alcohol limit being only 0.05, which is the equivalent of 2 beers, a lot of crew members don't follow them. This is on top of the other extracurricular activities some crew, but not all, indulge in on board. I know what you're thinking. Naturally, with the drug-sniffing dogs and the extra security that's at these cruise ports, there is no way anybody could sneak anything that isn't supposed to be on a cruise ship on board. Well, what is the saying? If there's a will, there's a way, and people do find a way. I've seen a lot of things on board cruise ships, and just like in hotels, people find ways to smoke. Like, for example, they'll just smoke in the shower and let the steam mix in with the smoke. I'm sure some of you out there have seen that done before. In a nutshell, just like the guests, the crew also like to have memorable and risky experiences, so the next time you see a crew member that looks like they may be pushing through the worst hangover in their life, please be sure to tip them extra because we've all been there. Now, there are, of course, a million...
Okay, so I see that a little bit differently, but I don't... Prefaces, I don't drink, I don't smoke in general. I never did. So, I am kind of immune to this, but obviously if you're working over cruise ships for a long time, you have friends or you're in a relationship with someone who does, most of the people do, there's nothing wrong with it. I think most of the people on board, people party hard, but I also think that this is a very specific kind of people that can't even work on board ships. I will protect crew a little bit here. I've seen crazy parties, but I think crew can make it look like they're more drunk than they are. And there's a thing, like, you're risking your job straight on, and a job that you might like. Usually people who get like super drunk or whatever, they kind of want to go home. They kind of, and I've seen this happen before, like they want to get caught and get sent home. They don't want to work on board cruise ships. The cruise company, I didn't want, like, when I came on board, I didn't want, like, after the first 2-3 weeks, I just wanted to go back home. It's very hard work. It's not something you expect. You expect to travel and see it. And you do, to be fair. I love ships nowadays, but, like, it was quite a shock when I was a 20-year-old. And then the cruise company and your managers will try to keep you there for at least a month until you get used to the rotation and what you're supposed to do. And then you can make a decision to either finish the contract and never come back, or just straight up go home, or, you know, continue working. And that the last one was the one for me. But I've seen this happen. People would go in and out, day in, day out, like get drunk when they're not supposed to, and finally get caught and get sent home, and they're like, I want you to go home anyways. However, I think majority of the crew members are very responsible with this because they know, you know what, you're there. You know who else is there? Your security manager or whatever. They're also having a party. That's what people understand. Like, private parties, maybe like in the rooms, but you gotta be careful with the sound. There is something that I will say probably something that entertainers will do a bit more over the line because they work in a closed environment, kind of like they work with each other. If they can perform, it's fine, even though their life is not easy on board. Don't get me wrong, they work hard, sometimes harder than anyone else, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like, who knows that they did it? Usually the other performers, and they stick as a team because they don't want new people on the team during the contract and whatnot. So maybe that's why he has this idea. I don't know. Then again, I've been working on royal and celebrity, so I can tell you, yeah, people party hard, but I don't know if I don't see it as that big of a
things that I could have mentioned in today's video, but since I'm new at making content like this, we'll start off with 3. Let me know what you think about all this. Were you surprised? Also, if you want to see a part 2, let me know in the comment section below. Please be sure to like the video if you guys enjoyed it. Of course, share and subscribe if you haven't already. That way you can stay updated on everything going on within the cruise ship industry, and of course get extra content. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, please consider joining the Ship Life crew. There you'll get a whole bunch of perks and bonuses that regular viewers do not have access to. You'll get priority in the comments section. You'll get exclusive content, discounts on store merch, and so much more. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope all of you are doing well. Take it easy.
Alright. So I'm gonna have a video in description so that you can actually watch the original video. Please drop a like and subscribe to him if you can. I'm new to this as well. I've seen some people react to stuff and I enjoyed watching that, so I wanted to, you know, try it myself. Why not? Yeah, if you think this is okay, I'm not gonna ask you to like and subscribe to my video. That's, you're gonna do it if you want. But if you have some videos like this that you would like to see me react to, especially if it's cruise life, I'd be more than happy to do it. Also, you can drop the link in the comments, or you can join Discord, where I will make a section for reaction videos so that my own community can do it as well. All right, thank you for watching it, and I'll see you around. Take care. Bye.